Another live stream. I hope that you are all very well. Hoping that everybody can hear me. Now, before I continue, before I go any further, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, because without you guys, this video today would not be possible. This live stream would not be possible. If you are watching this and you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on our future videos. So, thank you, Al, to confirm that you're here. If somebody can hear me, just tell me that they can hear me, and that will be greatly appreciated. So, today we'll be talking about learning to drive in your own car. Hi, Tia. Thank you. So we'll be learning about we'll be talking about learning to drive in your own car. This is not the way that the average person learns to drive. The average person, they take the route of learning to drive with a driving instructor. Now, there are many benefits, and of course, there are disadvantages as well, like with all things in life. Now, learning to drive with a driving instructor is straightforward. The driving instructor will provide the vehicle. They will make sure the vehicle is taxed, insured, roadworthy. They'll make sure it's got fuel, and they'll take care of all the legality. And on top of that, the driving instructor will be qualified, will know exactly what to expect in the driving test. They will know exactly how to teach you in the style that suits you best. However, we all know that driving instructors are very expensive, especially with today's cost of living. So, what are the alternatives? Now, you can have a combination of learning to drive with a driving instructor and in your own car. If I was to personally recommend something, I would say this is the best way of learning to drive, where you have a driving instructor. The instructor then will guide you as to when you are ready to drive on your own safely, or shall I say, not on your own, but in your own vehicle. And the instructor can guide you as to what type of roads you should be driving on. And if you pick up any bad habits, the instructor can correct them before they actually stick and cause issues in the long term. The other way is totally in your own car without a driving instructor. Yes, that is possible. Not many people would choose this option, but it is the cheapest option. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Oops, before I go any further, today's magic word is driving. Now, I'm going to ask this magic word later on, and the person who gets the first person who says the magic word on the chat will have access to our Psychology of Learning to Drive course, which consists of several things. It consists of the VAC learning system, how the brain remembers, and it consists of the power of sleep. It explains about your inner self, and it covers learning difficulties and controlling driving test nerves, amongst other things. So let's get started with learning to drive in your own car. However, I'm just going to read a few comments. Al said, very good point. Combination approach is the best way forward. Thank you, Al. So, learning to drive in your own car. Before you learn to drive in your own car, before you think, hey, I can learn to drive in my own car, take your dad's car or take your mum's car, go for a drive. It's not that straightforward. The first most important thing is that you must be 17, at least 17 years of age. The only exception is if you can learn at 16, provided you are receiving PIP, that's personal independent payment, at the higher rate. And I must emphasize at the higher rate. So if you are receiving this benefit at the lower rate or the medium rate, you are not entitled to drive at 16. You need to wait until 17. You can only drive at 16 if you're receiving PIP at the higher rate. Secondly, you need to be able to read a number plate from a distance of 20 meters. 20 meters is not that far, but nevertheless, you should be able to read one. And it doesn't mean that you can't wear glasses. So you can go to the opticians, get your eyesight tested, let them know that you're learning to drive. And if you need glasses, then they will prescribe glasses. Please bear in mind that if you have got a prescription for glasses, by law, you must wear them each and every time you are driving. If you're supposed to wear glasses and you drive without the glasses, your driving license is not valid. Your provisional driving license is not valid. It is only valid if you've got glasses on. So you also need a provisional driving license. And before you apply for a provisional, you will have to confirm that you can read a number plate at the required distance with or without glasses. Well, you're 17 years old, you've got your glasses, and you've got your provisional driving license. You also need a suitable vehicle. A suitable vehicle, basically, you need a vehicle that is roadworthy, that is legal on the road. We're going to talk a bit more about that later on, but to just cut it short, you need a vehicle that is taxed, MOT'd if it's if it's over 3 years old, should I say, and make sure that the tires, etc., is all fine. So I'm going to carry on. Insurance. This is the one that gets people. They have a car, they have their mum's car or whatever, and they think they can get in the car and drive. No. You must have insurance. In some countries, the vehicle has the insurance, and it doesn't matter who drives it. However, in the UK, it's the individual. The individual has the insurance. Now, your mum may have insurance, and that insurance may say any driver over the age of 25 can drive that vehicle. So if you're over 25, then yes, you can drive that vehicle. However, a lot of insurance companies these days, they won't insure anyone over 25, and people are reluctant to take those policies as they're quite expensive. So most popular are named policies. So your name has to be on your parents' insurance if you're learning to drive your parents' car. However, the problem with this is that if you have an incident, if you have a little accident, your parents will lose their no claims bonus. So as a learner driver, you can buy your own insurance. It doesn't have to be for a year, it can be for a month at a time. If you type on Google, learn a driver car insurance, you'll get several websites and you can go through them, choose the one that suits you. As I said, you can buy it for a month, try it out. If you like it, fine. If not, then maybe you can consider going with a driving instructor. Okay, so you've got all these things. Another thing, even if you've got your own car, you need a supervising driver. Someone has to supervise you. Just because you're learning in your own car, it doesn't mean that you can drive your car on your own. You cannot drive your car on your own. You must have a supervising person with you. Tia said, check the government website. Excellent advice, Tia. Thank you. Yeah, so you need a supervising person. And this supervising person has to meet certain criteria. One of the things is that, yeah, who can supervise? Chilton said the first person, well, one of the people, well, the supervisor, shall I say, must be 21 years or older. So if they're 19, 20, no, that person cannot supervise you. They must be minimum 21 or over. So if you're learning with your parents, then you have no problem, because I know your parents will be over the age of 21. The next thing is the person supervising you must have a full driving license. Not just a full driving license, but they must have a full driving license for the category that you are learning in. So if the person has a driving license for an automatic car, and you want to learn a manual car, that person cannot supervise you. Furthermore, they must have a license for at least 3 years. So if someone's had an automatic license for 3 years, if they've got a manual license even for a day, it makes no difference. They can still supervise you. As long as they've had a full driving license for 3 years, they can supervise. Now, just an added point here, we all know the law with mobile phones. I'll be shocked if someone did not know that they cannot use a mobile phone when driving. We all know that you cannot use mobile phones when driving. But as a supervising person, they cannot use a mobile phone. Driving instructors, we are not allowed to use a mobile phone while we are supervising. The fine for a driving instructor or a person supervising you to learn to drive, to teach you to drive, the fine is normal fine will be 3 penalty points. The fine for someone supervising you would easily be 6 penalty points on their driving license, and a fine of up to £1,000. So if your mum, your dad, your brother, sister, friend is supervising you and they think, oh, let me just check my text messages, that's illegal. And that person can be prosecuted. So even though they are in the passenger seat, they can be prosecuted because legally that person is in charge of the vehicle. Oh, what is today's magic word? Can somebody tell me what today's magic word is? And if they can, then that person will get access to our course. Yeah, no. Somebody. I don't know who this person is. Well, JIJINKNK, whatever. So whoever that person is, uh, I'm going to put your name in the in the pinned comment, and basically all you need to do is write a short message to info@dtcuk.co, and the course will be yours within the next 24 hours. Or should I say, within 24 hours of you putting your email, of you emailing DTC. So, what can I say to you? Congratulations. And for all the other people who have commented with the word driving, thank you very much. You guys, even though you haven't won the course, you can still access the course. It's on our website, and is priced at only £23.94. So thank you for that. And let's carry on. This time we're going to move on to using your own car for the driving test. So learning to drive in your car is one thing, but taking your car to the driving test is another thing. Because firstly, there are certain vehicles that you cannot use in the driving test. For example, you can't use convertibles. So if you learn to drive in a convertible, great, especially in the summer, but you won't be able to use it in the driving test. You can visit, I think it was a Tia who said, the gov.uk website, and just put car for driving test, and you will have a list of vehicles that the DVSA do not allow. Chilton said, can we have a discount if we refer other driver? I'm not sure what you're on about. If you refer other driver to who? Okay, so taking the car for the driving test. Firstly, I need to emphasize that if you're taking a car for the driving test, you do not need dual controls. A lot of people think, oh, the examiner will expect that. No, the examiner will not expect dual controls in your own car. However, if you decide to rent a car, if you decide to hire a car for the driving test, by law, it must be fitted with dual controls. So if you think, oh, I'll go to Hertz or Avis or whatever and rent one of their cars, then the driving examiner will not allow that. So please be careful on that. The car that you take for the driving test must not have warning lights on the dashboard. Now, if you look at the dashboard, there are various symbols on the dashboard. A red symbol, obviously red, danger, the examiner will not conduct the test. If it's got an amber symbol on it, the examiner may conduct the test or should conduct the test, provided the car is still working fine. For example, you may have an engine management light, and if it's amber or yellow, as some people call it, and the car is running fine, the examiner is most likely to do the test. However, if it's amber and there's an issue with the car, the examiner will not do the test. And if it's red, they will definitely not do the test. Okay. Can we use Instructor L logo rather than magnetic plates? I heard that L plates fall off. L plates can fall off. You're right about that. You just got to make sure that they're secure. But yes, you can use Instructor headboard if you've got access to one. Um, you can get some on Amazon, smaller ones. Yeah, excellent idea. Fantastic, Jalal. Okay, so no warning lights. Let's carry on. There should be no damage to the tires. When the car goes for a driving test, the examiner will walk around the whole vehicle and inspect the tires. They look out for nails in the tire. They look out for the tread depth, the legal tread depth. Does anybody, by the way, know what is a legal tread depth? Just a matter of interest. Who can tell me the minimum legal tread depth for tires? I am shocked. I'll give you a clue. It's 1 point something. Fantastic. 1.6. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Manisha. And thank you, Jijin. That's it. Got your name right, Jijin. And by the way, don't forget to email us because you've got access to the course. Um, so, as I was saying, 1.6 millimeters. Thank you. And there should be no cuts in the tire, no deep cuts, should I say, that you can see the wires of the wires of the tires, and obviously correctly inflated. An extra mirror. You do need an extra mirror for the examiner's use. Now you can buy these extra mirrors for about £5 to £7, £8, £9. Tesco's, car accessory shops, Amazon even, but it is a requirement. So if you have your own car, the examiner will need to be able to see what is happening behind. So make sure that you have an extra mirror for the examiner. The other thing, the vehicle must be fitted with a head restraint and seat belt. The seat belt must be working and clean. Just to add on to that. Another thing, the car should be able to do at least 62 miles per hour, which I don't see a problem with. But just in case you've, got one of these classic cars and they don't go up to 62 miles per hour for some reason, then that will not be suitable for the driving test. Don't forget, as I said earlier, and as Tia said, you can visit gov.uk /car for driving test, or just put on the search on gov.uk in the search bar, car for driving test, and the information will come up. The car must be taxed and MOT'd. Now, in the old days, we used to have the tax disc on the car and everybody could see that the car is taxed. These days, it's all computerized. And yes, the examiner will know. When they type your registration number in, this is one of the things that they have access to. The examiner will be able to see whether the vehicle is taxed, and the examiner will be able to see whether the vehicle is MOT'd if an MOT is due. If it's not, the examiner will refuse the test. So very important. Insurance. Now, yes, insurance is compulsory. As I said earlier, you can get insurance, learner driver insurance, and it's even available for a day or two. So if, let's say, you're driving with your instructor and your instructor says, you know what, unfortunately, I can't take you for the driving test because I have another test booked at the same time. And with the waiting list so long, you may not want to change your test date, you can get insurance for any vehicle as long as the vehicle is acceptable in the driving test, whether it's your friend's car, your neighbor's car, parent's car, anyone's car, you can get your own insurance. And that way, the person whose car you're borrowing feels confident as well that if something happens, their no claims bonus will not be affected. Also, when EE going at 50 miles an hour, okay, I'm not sure what Jalal is saying, but Jalal, I'll answer your question later on. But you may need to comment again when the live stream is finished. So insurance most important. And just on a note, just like with the road tax and the MOT, the driving examiner will have access to this information. So when you turn up at the test center, you don't need to prove that you've got insurance. The examiner will know. And if the car is not insured for you to drive, they will not take you for the test. Talking about the examiner refusing people for a driving test, you need to meet all these conditions. And bear in mind, as I said earlier about learning in your own car, you can't just learn in your own car, which means that you can't even drive your car for 10 seconds, not even for 1 second. You can't even take it out of the driveway onto the road without being supervised. So some people, they think that, oh, they've been learning to drive, let's say, with their brother, with their dad, with their whatever family member. And on the day of the driving test, that supervising person is not available. And the learner thinks they can drive to the test center themselves. If a driving examiner sees you pulling into the test center on your own without a supervising person, you are likely to be reported to the police. So yeah, they'll do the driving test, no problem at all. But when you come back from the driving test, the police will be waiting for you. So you could pass your driving test and then lose it as well. So be careful. Manisha said, with MOT, it's good to do it as close as possible to the MOT date. It is, yeah, so you don't waste on the MOT. The MOT is valid for 1 year. So we need to renew that each and every single year for all cars that are over the age of 3. The car must be clean. Driving examiners don't care about the outside of the car. As long as the brake lights, indicators, etc. can be seen and working, as long as the number plate can be read at 20 meters, they don't care how filthy the car is. However, the inside of the car must be clean. You must clean the car before you take it to the driving test. And talking about clean cars, even if your car is spotlessly clean, the examiner can refuse the test if they smell smoke. So you should not smoke in your car on the day of your driving test, even the day before if your test is early in the morning. If you have smoked in your car, you need to make sure that you get rid of that smoke smell, air freshener, maybe a bit of lemon, give it a good wipe with some lemon wipes or something like that. But the examiner should not smell smoke in the car. Otherwise, no driving test. Okay, what do you guys think? What's the best way of learning to drive? Do you think it's better with a driving instructor? Do you think a combination? Or do you think, you know what, in your own car? Whilst you're commenting, let me just tell you, the DVSA recommends that you have a combination. According to the DVSA, the average person in the UK takes about 45 hours with a professional driving instructor, plus about 20 hours of private practice. Is no one going to comment as to tell me what they think, whether it's better with the driving instructor? If so, why is it better with the driving instructor? If you think it's better in your own car, why? Maybe you can comment after the live chat. Jalal said, with your own car, with our own car, with instructor. Yes, that's a strange one. Very few instructors, Jalal, are willing to teach you in your own car, mainly because there's no dual controls, and there's other factors such as insurance and things like that as well. So I personally, as a driving instructor, I would be reluctant to teach somebody in their own vehicle for that reason. The rest of you can comment on what you think after the live stream. Now, we have a special guest coming on next Sunday. A very special person will be accompanying me, and this person will be a driving examiner. No, I've said that wrong actually. She's not a driving examiner. She was a driving examiner at the Mill Hill Driving Test Centre, but that person is no longer examiner, and that person will be available next week for you to ask any questions. So next Sunday, the 10th of March, 4 p.m., I'll be having a chat with the next driving examiner, and you guys make sure that you have your questions written out beforehand, and you'll be able to ask these questions live to this examiner, and this driving examiner will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to pass the driving test, what mistakes the examiners can let you off for, and what type of mistakes are definitely a no-no. So, is there any questions? Does anybody want to ask any questions before we end this session? Questions about anything to do with driving. Even after this live stream, please comment on what type of live streams that you would interested in, because I'm running out of ideas, to be honest. So next week we're okay. Next week we have, as I said, we have driving examiner coming in, but what about after that? So comment and let me know what you guys want to see. I'd like to say thank you for your time very much. Please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.